The ruins stretched as far as the eye could see, giant stone pillars cracked with age, half buried in red sand. The sky above was a dull shade of orange, with two suns hanging low, casting long shadows over the abandoned city. Commander Alex Carter adjusted his helmet and took a deep breath. His oxygen levels were stable, and his suit's scanner showed no immediate threats. "Another dead world," he muttered. Alex had been on dozens of planets like this. Lost civilizations, forgotten structures, and nothing left but silence. The Galactic Survey Corps had sent him here to investigate strange energy readings, but so far, he had found nothing except broken walls and dust. He stepped carefully over the cracked pavement, his boots kicking up small clouds of red sand. As he moved deeper into the ruins, his scanner beeped softly. Life detected. Alex froze. His hand instinctively moved to his sidearm. The readings were faint, but something, or someone, was nearby. He followed the signal, weaving through broken archways and collapsed corridors. Then he saw it. A figure lay slumped against a massive stone pillar, partially hidden behind fallen debris. At first, Alex thought it was just another ancient statue, but as he stepped closer, he realized it was a living being. She was unlike any alien he had seen before. Her skin had a soft violet hue, smooth and almost glowing under the dim sunlight. Sharp yet delicate horns curved slightly backward from her forehead, and her long silver hair spilled over her shoulders. She wore what looked like battle armor, though it was cracked and scorched in places. Alex knelt beside her, scanning her vitals. Her breathing was weak, and her pulse was unstable. She was injured. For a moment, he hesitated. The Galactic Council had warned about unknown alien species. Some were dangerous. Some could manipulate minds. But as he looked at her peaceful yet exhausted expression, he pushed those thoughts away. She needed help. Alex pulled a small medical injector from his belt and pressed it gently against her arm. The device hissed as it delivered a stabilizing agent into her bloodstream. Slowly, her breathing steadied. Then her eyes opened. They were bright gold, glowing softly in the dim light. For a moment, she stared at him, confusion flickering across her face. Then she tensed. "Who are you?" she whispered. Her voice was soft, but carried a strange musical tone. "Easy," Alex said, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "I found you here. You were hurt. I just helped." She blinked, her eyes narrowing slightly as if trying to process his words. Then her gaze flicked to his uniform, to the emblem of the United Earth Federation on his shoulder. Her breath hitched. "You're human," she said, almost in disbelief. Alex frowned. "Yeah, and you are." She hesitated before answering. "Lurvexa, of the Veldari." Veldari. The name sounded vaguely familiar. Alex had heard rumors of a race with psychic abilities, often compared to the mythical Succubi of old Earth legends. They were said to be mysterious, powerful, and extremely rare. Lurvexa tried to sit up, but a sharp pain made her wince. Alex caught her shoulder, steadying her. "Take it easy," he said. "You're still weak." She looked at him again, her golden eyes studying him carefully. You're not affected by my aura." Alex raised an eyebrow. "You're what?" Lurvexa seemed surprised, as if she expected something different. But before she could explain, a distant roar echoed through the ruins. Alex immediately turned, his instincts on high alert. Lurvexa's expression darkened. "They found me," she whispered. "Who?" Alex asked. She grabbed his wrist, her grip surprisingly strong despite her condition. "We have to leave. Now." Alex didn't argue. He helped her to her feet, supporting her weight as they moved quickly through the ruins. Behind them, the roar grew louder, followed by the unmistakable sound of heavy footsteps. Something was coming, and it wasn't friendly. The ruins trembled as heavy footsteps echoed through the ancient city. Whatever was coming, It was big. Alex tightened his grip on Lurvex's arm, helping her move. She was still weak, but she pushed forward, urgency in her golden eyes. "Who's after you?" Alex asked as they rushed through the narrow corridors of broken stone. Lurvex's breath was unsteady. "Hunters." Alex frowned. "What kind of hunters?" Before she could answer, a deep growl filled the air. Alex turned his head just in time to see a massive creature emerging from the shadows. It was a towering beast, covered in dark, bony armor, its 4 glowing red eyes locked onto them. Its claws dug into the stone floor as it sniffed the air, detecting its prey. Lurvexa gritted her teeth. A void stalker. Alex didn't need a second opinion. He grabbed his sidearm and aimed, but before he could fire, Lurvexa gripped his wrist. "No, that won't stop it." Alex looked at her. "Then what will?" Lurvex's golden eyes flickered with determination. "Follow me." She pulled him forward, and they sprinted through the ruins. The void stalker let out a piercing roar and lunged after them, its claws smashing through stone as it chased them. Alex's mind raced. He had faced dangerous creatures before, but this one was faster than anything he had encountered. Lurvexa suddenly turned down a narrow passage, leading them into a collapsed chamber filled with glowing blue crystals. She stumbled, and Alex caught her before she fell. "What now?" he asked, glancing back. The void stalker was too large to fit through the narrow passage, but it was clawing through the walls, trying to break its way in. Lurvexa took a deep breath, then pressed her hands against one of the glowing crystals. The air around them shimmered. Alex felt a strange pressure in his head, like a soft whisper brushing against his mind. Then, suddenly, silence. The void stalker paused. It sniffed the air again, growled in frustration, then turned and walked away. Alex slowly lowered his weapon. What just happened? Lurvexa leaned against the wall, clearly drained. "I mask our presence. It won't sense us now." Alex stared at her. "That's impressive." She gave a weak smile. "Humans don't know much about the Veldari, do they?" Alex shook his head. "Only rumors. Some say your kind can control minds." Lurvexa sighed. "That is an exaggeration. We don't control minds, but we can influence emotions, perceptions, and, in rare cases, hide ourselves from hostile creatures." Alex raised an eyebrow. "So that's why you were surprised I wasn't affected by you earlier." Lurvexa studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, humans should not be immune." Alex crossed his arms. "Well, I guess I'm full of surprises." Lurvexa gave him a curious look. "You are not like the others I've heard about." Alex chuckled. "Let me guess. Humans are supposed to be dangerous, aggressive, and impossible to reason with." Lurvexa hesitated, then nodded. "Our elders warn us about humans. They say you are warriors, conquerors, a species that does not fear death." Alex sighed. "Not all of us are like that." He looked around the ruined chamber. "So what were you doing here alone?" Lurvexa hesitated. Then she spoke softly. "I was searching for something important, a lost artifact from my people." Alex frowned. "And the void stalker?" "It was waiting for me," she said. "Hunters like that are drawn to powerful energy sources." Alex thought for a moment. "So, did you find what you were looking for?" Lurvexa shook her head. "No. And now I am stranded." Alex took a deep breath. This was a dangerous planet, and she was in no condition to survive on her own. He looked at her, then at the ruins around them. He had a choice. He could leave her and complete his mission alone, or he could help her. But he already knew his answer. "All right," he said. "I'll help you find it." Lurvex's eyes widened slightly. "You? Will?" Alex nodded. "I don't leave people behind." For the first time, Lurvexa smiled. It was small, but genuine. "Then you are not like the stories say." Alex smirked. "Guess you'll have to see for yourself." As they prepared to leave the chamber, The ruins around them remained silent. But somewhere in the distance, a new danger was already stirring. The ruins were silent again, but Alex knew it wouldn't last. Danger lurked everywhere on this planet, and he wasn't planning on staying any longer than necessary. Lurvexa stood beside him, her golden eyes thoughtful. She had regained some strength, but she was still weak. Alex could see it in the way she leaned slightly against the stone wall. "You said you were searching for an artifact," Alex said. "What exactly are we looking for?" Lurvexa hesitated, then spoke. "A relic from my ancestors, a core of pure energy. It was lost long ago, but I believe it still exists." Alex nodded. "And why do you need it?" She looked away. "Because without it, my people are in danger." Alex sighed. He had 1,000 more questions, but he knew this wasn't the time. "All right, but first, we need to get off this planet." Lurvex's expression darkened. "There's only one way." Alex raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." She took a deep breath. "We need to reach my people, my hive." Alex frowned. "Hive? As in a colony?" She nodded. "Yes, we live beneath the surface, hidden from outsiders. If we can reach my home, my people will help us." Alex considered this. It wasn't the worst idea, if her people were friendly. But there was always a risk. And what if they don't trust me? Lurvexa met his gaze. "Then I will make them trust you." Alex sighed. "Great. Let's hope they listen." They set off, moving carefully through the ruins. The sky above was growing darker as the twin suns began to set, casting long shadows across the landscape. Alex's instincts were on high alert. This planet was dangerous enough in daylight. He didn't want to find out what happened at night. After walking for nearly an hour, they reached the edge of the ruins, where the land sloped downward into a valley covered in thick mist. Strange, twisted trees rose from the ground, their black leaves rustling in the wind. Lurvexa pointed ahead. "The entrance to the hive is hidden in that valley." Alex studied the area. "Looks quiet." Lurvexa shook her head. "It won't be for long." As if on cue, a distant howl echoed through the valley. Alex immediately drew his weapon. "We need to move. Now." They hurried down the slope, weaving between the twisted trees. The mist grew thicker, making it harder to see. Every shadow seemed to move, every sound felt too close. Then, a low growl. Alex turned just in time to see 2 figures emerging from the mist. They weren't beasts. They were Veldari warriors. Their dark armor blended with the surroundings, and their golden eyes glowed just like Lurvex's. But unlike her, their expressions were cold, unreadable. They carried long, curved weapons that looked like a mix between a spear and an energy blade. Lurvexa stepped forward, raising her hands. "I am Lurvexa, daughter of matron Yisvali. I demand safe passage." The warriors didn't lower their weapons. One of them, taller than the other, studied her for a moment before speaking. "You were missing." Lurvexa nodded. "I was attacked. I barely survived." The warrior's gaze flickered to Alex. "And the human?" Lurvexa stood firm. "He saved my life. He is with me." A tense silence filled the air. The second warrior stepped forward, gripping his weapon tightly. "Humans are not welcome here." Alex sighed. "Yeah, I figured." Lurvexa narrowed her eyes. "He is under my protection. If you refuse us entry, you will answer to my mother." The 2 warriors exchanged a glance. Finally, the taller one stepped aside. "Follow us." Alex exhaled slowly. That went well. Lurvexa gave him a small smile. It could have been worse. They followed the warriors through the mist until they reached a large stone structure hidden among the trees. It looked like an ancient temple, its walls covered in strange glowing symbols. One of the warriors stepped forward and pressed his hand against the stone. A deep rumbling sound filled the air, and the ground beneath them shifted. A massive doorway opened, revealing a dark tunnel leading underground. Alex stared at it. Let me guess. This is the way to the hive. Lurvexa nodded. Yes. Stay close to me. Alex took a deep breath and stepped inside. As the entrance sealed behind them, he had the uneasy feeling that whatever waited below was far more dangerous than anything above. The tunnel was dark, cold, and too quiet for Alex's liking. The air smelled different here, damp, metallic, with a faint energy humming beneath the surface. As he walked deeper into the underground passage, his boots echoed against the smooth stone floor. The only light came from glowing blue crystals embedded in the walls, casting eerie shadows along the corridor. Beside him, Lurvexa moved with familiarity, her golden eyes calm yet focused. The two Veldari warriors who had escorted them remained silent, their expressions unreadable. Alex sighed. So, what exactly should I expect down here? Lurvexa glanced at him. My people. My mother. Alex raised an eyebrow. And your mother is? Lurvexa hesitated. The matron. Our leader. Alex groaned. Great. So I'm meeting royalty. Lurvexa's lips twitched in amusement. You could say that. Alex wasn't sure if that was a good thing or a very, very bad thing. The tunnel soon opened into a massive underground city. Alex's breath caught for a moment as he took in the sight before him. Towering structures of dark stone rose high above, connected by bridges made of woven energy strands. The city itself glowed, not from artificial lights, but from the very walls and floors, pulsing softly like a living thing. Hundreds, maybe thousands, of Veldari moved through the streets, their elegant forms barely making a sound as they walked. Alex had seen many alien civilizations before, but this was something else. The two warriors led them across a wide bridge toward a grand temple at the center of the hive. It stood taller than the other buildings, its walls covered in ancient symbols that shimmered faintly as they passed. Lurvexa suddenly tensed beside him. Alex noticed it immediately. You okay? She exhaled slowly. I haven't seen my mother in a long time. Before Alex could respond, the heavy stone doors of the temple swung open. Inside, a large circular chamber awaited them. At its center sat a raised throne of black stone, where a single figure watched them with piercing golden eyes. She was taller than Lurvexa, her presence commanding. Her violet skin shimmered under the dim light, and her silver hair was woven into an intricate braid. Unlike the warriors, she wore ornate robes, lined with energy-infused threads that flickered like tiny stars. This was Matron Yisvali, leader of the Veldari hive. Lurvexa stepped forward, bowing slightly. Mother. The matron's expression remained unreadable. You return. With a human. Her voice was smooth, but there was a hidden sharpness beneath it. Lurvexa straightened. He saved my life. I would not have survived without him. The matron's gaze shifted to Alex, a human showing mercy. That is rare. Alex crossed his arms. You're welcome. A few Veldari guards along the wall stiffened at his casual tone, but the matron merely studied him. You are bold. Alex shrugged. I've been called worse. The matron tapped her fingers against the armrest of her throne. Tell me, human, why should I trust you? Alex held her gaze. Because I had the chance to leave your daughter behind. I didn't. A brief silence filled the chamber. The matron's golden eyes narrowed slightly, but there was something else there. Curiosity. Lurvexa took a step closer. Mother, we need your help. The artifact. The matron raised a hand, silencing her. I know why you came. Lurvexa's eyes widened. Then, you know where it is. The matron sighed. I know where it was. Alex didn't like the sound of that. Meaning? The matron's gaze darkened. It was stolen. Lurvexa's breath caught. By who? The matron leaned forward slightly. The Skrell. A heavy tension filled the air. Alex frowned. I don't know who they are, but I'm guessing they're not friendly. Lurvex's hands clenched into fists. They are our enemies. They have hunted us for centuries. The matron nodded. And now they have the artifact. If they unlock its power, they will destroy us. Alex exhaled slowly. Well, that's bad. The matron's golden eyes fixed on him once more. Tell me, human, you saved my daughter. But are you willing to fight for her? Alex didn't hesitate. Yeah, I am. Lurvexa looked at him, surprise flickering in her expression. The matron studied him for a long moment. Then she rose from her throne. Then prepare yourself, human. The real battle is only beginning. Alex stood in the great hall of the Veldari hive, feeling the weight of the moment. The room was silent, except for the faint hum of energy from the walls. Matron Yisvali stood before him, her golden eyes calm but filled with authority. Beside him, Lurvexa was tense, waiting for her mother's next words. Finally, the matron spoke. The Skrell are a dangerous enemy. If you face them, you must be prepared for war. Alex crossed his arms. I fought before. I can handle myself. The matron studied him. Fighting pirates and criminals is one thing. Fighting the Skrell is another. Alex raised an eyebrow. What makes them so dangerous? Lurvexa answered before her mother could. They are hunters. Their bodies are stronger than ours, their weapons are advanced, and they do not show mercy. The matron nodded. And now, with the artifact in their hands, they will become unstoppable. Alex sighed. Then we need to get it back. The matron turned to her warriors. Prepare the strike team. We leave at once. Lurvex's eyes widened. You're coming with us. The matron gave a small nod. This battle is too important to leave to others. Alex was impressed. He had met many alien leaders before, but few were willing to fight beside their people. He respected that. The warriors moved quickly, gathering weapons and supplies. Within minutes, a group of elite Veldari soldiers stood ready, their dark armor blending with the shadows of the hive. One of the warriors approached Alex and handed him a sleek energy rifle. Alex took it, examining the weapon. Nice, but I'll stick with my own. He patted the old but reliable plasma pistol on his hip. It had saved his life too many times to trade it now. The matron led them through the tunnels, deeper into the hive. They stopped before a large stone door, covered in glowing symbols. With a simple touch, the matron activated the ancient mechanism. The door rumbled open, revealing a hidden hangar. Alex's eyes widened. Whoa. Inside, several sleek black ships rested on stone platforms. Their curved designs made them look like birds of prey, ready to strike. Lurvexa smiled slightly. Our fastest ships. Alex chuckled. Now we're talking. The team boarded one of the ships, and within moments, the engines hummed to life. The hangar doors opened, revealing the vast underground tunnels that led to the surface. As the ship lifted off, Alex strapped himself into a seat beside Lurvexa. Where exactly are we going? Lurvexa checked the navigation screen. The Skrell hide on a barren moon, not far from here. It's a wasteland, but it's perfect for them. Alex frowned, because no one else wants to go there. She nodded. Exactly. The ship shot forward, speeding through the underground tunnels before emerging into the dark sky above. For a moment, Alex just stared out the window. The planet below was beautiful, with its glowing forests and endless rivers. It was strange to think that, just hours ago, he had been fighting for survival on this very land. Lurvexa nudged him. Are you ready for this? Alex smirked. Too late to back out now. The matron's voice came over the ship's communicator. Approaching the moon. Prepare for landing. Alex and Lurvexa exchanged a glance. The real fight was about to begin. The Skrell stronghold. The barren moon was exactly what Alex expected. Rocky, lifeless, and silent. As the ship touched down on the surface, the team moved quickly. The air was thin, but breathable. The ground beneath their feet was dry and cracked. In the distance, a massive structure rose from the moon's surface. It looked ancient, built from dark metal, and covered in glowing red markings. Alex adjusted his gear. That's the place. Lurvexa nodded. Yes, the artifact will be inside. The matron signaled to her warriors. Move carefully. The Skrell do not welcome visitors. They advanced toward the structure, weapons ready. The closer they got, the more Alex felt like they were being watched. Then, movement. Shadows flickered near the entrance. The air grew colder. Lurvexa whispered, "They know we're here." A low, inhuman growl echoed from the darkness. Alex clenched his plasma pistol. Showtime. The air was heavy with tension. Alex gripped his plasma pistol tightly as he scanned the shadows near the entrance of the Skrell stronghold. The glowing red symbols on the metal walls pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. It was too quiet, and that made him uneasy. Beside him, Lurvexa crouched low, her golden eyes sharp and alert. The Veldari warriors, led by Matron Yisvali, moved swiftly and silently, their dark armor blending into the rocky terrain. Then it happened. A sharp screech cut through the air. From the shadows, figures leaped forward, tall, armored, and fast. The Skrell had arrived. They were terrifying up close. Their dark chitinous armor gleamed under the moonlight, their four glowing red eyes locking onto the intruders. They carried curved energy blades, crackling with deadly power. The battle had begun. Chaos and fire. Alex didn't hesitate. He pulled the trigger. A blue plasma bolt shot through the air, striking one of the Skrell in the chest. The creature shrieked, but its armor absorbed most of the damage. Lurvexa was already moving. She dodged a blade strike, spun around, and slashed her energy dagger across the enemy's exposed neck. The Skrell collapsed instantly. The Veldari warriors moved with deadly precision, firing energy rifles, cutting through their enemies. But the Skrell were fast. Too fast. One of them lunged at Alex. He barely had time to react. He twisted to the side as the curved blade slashed past his shoulder. Pain burned across his arm, but he ignored it. Instead, he slammed the butt of his pistol into the Skrell's face, then fired twice. The creature dropped. Another enemy came from the right. Too fast. Before Alex could react, a Veldari warrior tackled the Skrell from the side, saving him. The warrior wasn't as lucky. The Skrell's blade pierced his chest, and he fell with a muffled gasp. Alex clenched his jaw. We have to get inside. We can't fight them in the open. The matron nodded. Move. The team pushed forward, cutting through the remaining enemies as they ran toward the entrance. Inside the stronghold, the doors slid open with a deep rumbling sound, revealing a long, dark corridor lined with glowing red lights. The air inside was thick and humid, carrying a metallic scent. Alex stepped in, his pistol still raised. I don't like this. Lurvexa wiped blood off her blade. Neither do I. Behind them, the remaining warriors entered, sealing the doors shut. For now, they were safe. The matron spoke. We must move quickly. The artifact will be in the inner chamber. They moved carefully through the corridors. The walls were covered in strange alien symbols, shifting and glowing as they passed. The deeper they went, the more uneasy Alex felt. Then he noticed something. Where are the Skrell? He muttered. Lurvexa tensed. They should be here. That's when they heard it. A deep guttural growl, echoing through the halls. Then a voice, cold, sharp, and filled with amusement. You are too late. A figure stepped into view at the end of the corridor. It was taller than the others, its armor adorned with dark engravings. Unlike the others, it carried not a blade, but a staff crackling with dark energy. Lurvex's breath caught. The warlord. Alex frowned. Well, that doesn't sound good. The Skrell warlord smiled, his 4 red eyes glowing brighter. You fight well, but it was foolish to come here. The matron stepped forward. Return the artifact. The warlord chuckled. Return it. Why would I do that, when it is already awakening? Alex cursed. That's even worse. Then the ground shook violently. A deep, thunderous pulse echoed through the halls, making the red symbols along the walls glow brighter. The matron's face darkened. We must stop them. Now. The warlord raised his staff, and the energy in the air crackled with power. Alex tightened his grip on his pistol. The final battle was about to begin. The ground trembled beneath them, and the walls of the Skrell stronghold pulsed with an eerie red glow. Alex tightened his grip on his plasma pistol, his heart pounding in his chest. The Skrell warlord stood tall at the end of the corridor, his staff crackling with dark energy. His 4 glowing red eyes burned with confidence. Lyrivexo whispered, if the artifact is awakening, we're running out of time. The matron stepped forward, her voice calm but firm. Skrell warlord, surrender the artifact now, or face destruction. The warlord laughed, a deep guttural sound. Foolish Feldari, you think you can stop this? The power of the artifact belongs to the Skrell now. Without warning, he slammed his staff into the ground. A wave of dark energy shot outward, shaking the entire chamber. The battle had begun. Chaos in the stronghold. The Skrell warriors emerged from the shadows, moving fast. Alex fired his plasma pistol, hitting the first enemy in the chest. The creature stumbled but kept coming. Before it could strike, Lyrvex's energy dagger slashed through its throat, sending it collapsing to the floor. The matron raised her hand, and a pulse of blue energy shot from her palm, throwing several Skrell warriors backward. The Veldari warriors charged forward, engaging in brutal combat. Alex turned just in time to dodge a blade aimed at his head. He kicked the Skrell in the stomach, then shot it point blank. The creature fell. But the real threat was still ahead, the power of the artifact. At the center of the chamber, the artifact hovered above a pedestal, surrounded by crackling red energy. The warlord raised his staff, chanting in a strange, ancient language. The red energy grew stronger, and the air itself became heavy. Lyrivexa shouted, "He's trying to activate it fully. If he succeeds, we won't be able to stop him." Alex cursed. "Then we hit him hard before he finishes." The matron nodded. "I will hold off the warriors. You two, stop him." The showdown. Alex and Lyrvexa rushed forward, dodging blasts of dark energy as the warlord attacked. Alex fired his plasma pistol, but a barrier of red energy blocked his shots. Lyrvexa leaped into the air, aiming to strike from above. But the warlord swung his staff, releasing a shockwave that sent her flying across the chamber. She hit the ground hard, groaning in pain. Alex clenched his jaw. "You'll pay for that." The warlord smirked. "You are just a human. Weak. Helpless." Alex grinned. "You talk too much." He threw a plasma grenade at the artifact's pedestal. The explosion sent a shockwave through the room, disrupting the energy field around the artifact. The red glow flickered, and the warlord's eyes widened in surprise. Lyrvexa took the chance. She sprang up, rushing forward, and plunging her energy dagger into the warlord's side. He roared in pain, swinging wildly. Alex didn't hesitate. He fired 3 shots, hitting the warlord in the chest. The Skrell leader staggered backward, red energy crackling around him. He looked at them, his expression filled with rage and disbelief. "This is not over," he growled. Then, with a final shriek, he collapsed to the ground. The artifact pulsed one last time, then dimmed. The red glow faded. The energy vanished. The battle was over. The aftermath. Silence filled the chamber. Alex exhaled, lowering his pistol. That was intense. Lyrvexa smiled. "You did well, human." The matron and the remaining Veldari warriors approached. "This Krell are broken. Without their leader, they will scatter." Alex glanced at the artifact. "What do we do with this?" The matron studied it carefully. "It must be sealed away, where no one can use its power again." Alex smirked. "Good idea. I don't want to go through that twice." Returning home, they returned to their ship, leaving the ruined stronghold behind. As they flew back toward the Veldari homeworld, Alex stared out the window, watching the stars. Lurvexa sat beside him. "You have proven yourself today." Alex chuckled. "Does that mean your parents approve of me now?" Lurvexa laughed softly. "Perhaps." The matron approached. "Human, you fought bravely. The Veldari owe you a great debt." Alex shrugged. "Just doing what I do best." The matron gave a rare smile. "You will always be welcome among us." As the ship entered the planet's atmosphere, Alex leaned back in his seat. He had come here as a survivor, a lost human stranded in an alien world. Now he was leaving as a hero.